Hello, everyone, and welcome back to a new episode of the Between the Bases podcast. My name is Noak. Alongside me today is BBD from John Boy Media. Beebs, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me. Excited to be here. Excited to be back.
You're returning a guest. Do you want to guess who the number one guest is? Because I think you're now number two. I think you're tied with someone
Oh.
for number two. So you want to guess who number one is?
I'm guessing you're asking because I know them, which inclines me to think it could be a Max Manus vehicle.
It is Max Manus. I lost count of many times he's come on, but you just slid into a tie with Emmanuel Barbari from WFAN and Frank the Tank from Barstool. So it's pretty good company for
Wow,
you.
that's a good group. That's a good group.
I'm actually getting Max on again tomorrow. So you know.
Oh wow, he's gonna start lapping me and Frank.
Yeah. So let's start off, on a sad note. Obviously on Monday, every Yankee fan got the sad news that John Sterling passed away. As a Yankee fan that's been a Yankee fan for now a couple years, a long time. What did John Sterling mean to you?
I mean, John Sterling was kind of everything to me. Everybody has something that they feels like special connection to certain broadcasters and all that for your team. You listen to enough games, all that. But Sterling in particular, I ran the John Sterling calls account for 5 years or so there, and really not a lot of people, especially in this back however many years of his career, listened to as much John Sterling as I did. I truly just loved listening to him call a game. He was as fun as anybody, hilarious. And you would always learn something either between stories or just little idioms he'd come up with that just resonate with you. That he is going to be as missed as kind of any figure I can imagine.
Yeah, for me, I kind of grew up in the generation where my generation kind of doesn't listen to the radio anymore, and I'm fortunate that my grandfather kind of forced me to listen to John Sterling. I would go to the beach and with my grandfather and my uncle, who are two of the biggest Yankee fans that I know, and that I would bring my phone down and watch on my phone, and my grandfather was like, he used to bring down like a big radio, and he's like, let's just listen to John Sterling. So I would listen to John Sterling, and I remember 2021. I think it was the Joey Gallo, Anthony Rizzo, trade deadline. And as someone that wants to be an announcer, I kind of made like my own John Sterling calls. And it's like a game between me and my uncle. Like when the Yankees get a new player, it's, what's this guy's, home run call going to be? And I just remember, it was during COVID. And after the game, you can wait outside, try to meet the announcers. And I met Michael Kay that day. And I saw John Sterling and I was like, do you have a home run call planned for Joey Gallo? And he's like, I got to keep that close to my heart. I can't, that's got to be a surprise to everyone else. So,
they're big reveals.
Yeah. Again, as someone that wants to be a broadcaster, John Sterling, is one of the best and he will be missed. And it's sad news for every Yankee fan. But where are you at right now in the 2026 New York Yankees? Let's go on to happy note.
Yeah, definitely happier, and the team has been rolling. Other than that, what was it, like back-to-back series losses or something? There was like 1 week that was not fun, and even then they didn't get. They only got swept in like the Rays series. They're still getting some wins. They've been finding different ways to win. They've been clicking in kind of all facets outside of the bullpen, which results-wise has been good enough, but that's also like the one thing that they can fix as the season goes on. So they've been really eye-opening with how literally how good they are. I expected them to be a good team. I thought they were good enough last year, especially after the trade deadline, and I thought they were going to be good again running it back. I thought that group was good, but they're exceeding my own expectations.
Yeah, and just the way, everyone's talking about it, that they're running things differently this year. There seems to be an urgency because there might not be a 2027 MLB season. I hope there is. But you Judge, Colin, Stanton, that the core that we have right now, they're not getting any younger. Like, this is really the last opportunity you have of those three. And, Rodon is getting up there in age. I think he has, 2 years left on his contract. But again, now you have the young guys now, too, in Rice. You have Schlittler. Spencer Jones just got called up. Jason Dominguez just got hurt, but, he was playing solid baseball. Anthony Volpe, we'll get to that later in the episode. They just sent him down. So where are we at right now with the young guys on this team?
They've, pretty much everybody on the team's been kind of solid. Even the guys that got off the slow starts have now put together a few weeks of elevated play and all that. The young guys, each one that's come up and kind of gotten their shot. Dominguez, had to get the tough news. He was starting the year in AAA, and he went about his business the right way and came up and he looked great. I'm gutted for him that he got hurt today, especially the way he did. That looked like it hurt. Um, and hopefully they've avoided all terrible case scenarios there. But he looks good. I know Spencer Jones has had a pretty good run in AAA to open the season, so I'm excited to see him. And yeah, I'm every button they've hit so far has been a pretty good button to hit. That I'm really happy with everything they are doing right now. Circle back in a month, 2 months, and we'll see, I guess, and we'll see if these now the slew of injuries catches up with them. But for now, things are great, and I'm excited to see another new young guy in Jones this weekend.
Yeah, and Jones coming up this weekend, fingers crossed, that this guy is going to have, an unbelievable career. But I haven't seen anyone talk about this on Twitter. If he gets off the hot start and then, Stanton comes back and whenever he comes back, then do you send Jones back to AAA? Do you trade him or do you keep him on the roster if Grisham's not
Yeah,
hitting anymore? Because
yeah,
I
it's
mean, that's
it's
a fun conversation to have.
it's interesting. I guess it all depends just what's going on whenever Stanton is back. Is Jones hot? Has Grisham gotten it going? Is Jones does he look like he actually can be the center fielder? Does it look like he needs to be exclusively left field and Belly goes to center or whatever? They have options for themselves, and fortunately for them, it can be as simple as just Jones goes back down and all we get is a taste, whatever. But yeah, it'll be a fascinating decision if health perseveres, Dominguez comes back too, and all that, and if Jones is rolling, it's they've invested so much into him and not traded him so many times at this point that they're pretty invested in him doing well. That if he is, I imagine it's going to be a hard conversation both with the player and with themselves as the decision makers that to have to send him down if that's the move. But hey, let's see him be good first and have some fun.
So do you think Dominguez has played his last game as a Yankee or you think they're not going to trade him?
Um, I don't think he's played his last. I don't think he'll be out that long. If he was, you never know. Anybody can get traded kind of anytime, and I guess if he's really going to be out a month or so, you get into June and trades do start being kind of on the table. So yeah, I mean, either him or Jones or whoever, or if they're both going well and they want to flip Grisham or whatever. Who knows what they can do? It's you can't predict baseball, Susan. So I it's impossible to really say. I would guess we haven't seen the last of Jason Dominguez.
Yeah, but even if Dominguez misses a month, I don't think we expect Stanton to be out for another month. That
True.
Dominguez is probably going to go back to AAA if when he gets healthy. So
I would guess so. I mean, yeah, I guess we'll see what's going on at the time. There's always baseball has a way of kind of figuring itself out with those roster crunches every time it comes up. That we'll see, but it's showing the fact that the Yankees did it with Volpe, who I know you said we'll get to later, but they did it with Volpe, so it certainly wouldn't be a surprise if they just send Dominguez down to AAA whenever he's done rehabbing or is activated or whatever. That can't be a surprising conclusion for this if that's where it lands.
yeah, and you just mentioned that I want to go there right away. Where are you at with Volpe right now?
Look, he's clearly has some things to work on. He the stats are what the stats are. I see what the Yankees see in the guy. I understand why they were as high on him as they were. I understand why he was as highly ranked a prospect as he was. He in a lot of ways has looked the part, but you look at the stats, you watch most of his big league at bats, and they have not looked like a guy who's ready to meaningfully contribute at this level. And he hopefully can find that again within himself with this little stint in AAA. Another guy who I would be shocked if we've seen the last of him, if for no other reason than I don't know who's next in line if another injury happens. But he's got an opportunity to fix some things, get his confidence up. I think that might be the biggest thing for him because he has struggled for 3 full seasons. Outside of a few weeks here and there, he has been a guy who I think is desperately needed to just feel good hitting again, and hopefully this allows him to do that.
Yeah, and I'm gonna like said, I'm a big believer in Anthony Volpe, just because
Sure,
I like to root for Yankee players. I'm not one to boo players, when they struggle in the Bronx. But
not my
you know,
thing.
yeah, like he's had a couple of hot stretches. Granted they haven't been for long periods of time, but they're fun when they happen. 2024 postseason. The start 2024 to start 2025. And I don't know, how much that arm injury really affected his season last year. Like if you want to make excuses and say, yeah, that affected, then hey, you can say that. But I believe that like the New York Yankees, if you were to tell a Yankee fan 3 years ago that Dominguez and Volpe, your two prospects that you really pumped up to the whole fan base, that they were going to have a role in 2026, they were going to start the season in the minor leagues. I think every Yankee fan would looked around and said, "You're crazy." And Ben Rice and Cam Schlittler came out of nowhere and have been those two guys that the Yankees have kind of needed. Two young guys the Yankees have needed.
Yeah, yeah. If you said a couple years ago that they had like two homegrown studs, most people probably would have said that's going to be Volpe and Dominguez, especially with the Yankees, where it's hard for young players to get real opportunities. That they have given a handful of guys real shots. That they has paid dividends with Rice, and hopefully, this little reset means that'll pay dividends on Volpe too. It looked like the little reset, at least offensively, was really working for Dominguez. Um, things are trending the right way.
I mean, you want to talk a little Rice? You briefly touched up on him. I think he has a real shot. I don't know if he's going to play a full buck 62 like this, but he has a real shot to be in conversation to be the MVP this year.
Yeah, so far, I mean, how could he not be in the conversation? I guess what is unfortunate for him is being on a team with Aaron Judge, who even though his numbers are better, just anytime you have two guys from the same team, you're worried about them cannibalizing the vote from one another a little bit. But no, he's been better than I think anybody could have realistically expected. And hey, look, it's been we're 6 weeks into the season, give or take. Like obviously, I've seen guys have amazing 6 weeks before. Maybe not very often this level of a good 6 weeks, but I mean Rice looks the part. He feels the part. He did do it for a full year last year, even with a little bit of what we think is some bad luck in his profile from where he's hitting balls last year. It seems to be positively regressing to the mean on that end this year. That look, I know you talk to people around the game. I've heard from all sorts of people that think he can be the next Schwarber, and he has been that so far this year. So good on them for sticking with him and believing and playing him pretty much every day like they did until this little injury thing that hopefully by the time this is even out we're past it. But yeah, he's been insane.
Yeah, and we talk, about how Ben Rice, has a chance to win the MVP. I think that a starting pitcher on the New York Yankees, we'll switch over to starting pitching now. But one in
Sure.
particular, Cam Schlittler, looks like he could have a real chance at winning the Cy Young this year, considering that Crochet, we don't know when he's coming back. School, we don't know when he's coming back. That Cam Schlittler might win the Cy Young this year. And again, his teammate might take away votes from him, Max Fried.
Yeah, they Schiller's been awesome. I did see he became the favorite on certain sites during this week. So that I didn't have that, and I was about as high on Schlittler coming into the year as anybody else. He's been so good. Like he's been able to be just like he's been so good. I don't have to think about him. Like I just I enjoy when he's out there. But I never like think about like is he going to be good today? He just is pretty much every time, and he's become a guy who also like even when he doesn't have his best stuff, he grinds through it. He figures it out. That another guy that if you told him or anybody else 2 years ago that he'd be here now, like how could you believe them?
Yeah.
That man, that he's so good.
And he's a lot of fun to watch pitch too. I was at the
Yeah,
game on Monday, and I was like, he wasn't he hasn't pitched so well. A lot of hard contact, and you look up and he's like 6.1. One earned run, and I was like, dude, like this if that's his bad start, I'll sign me up.
he's had a few starts this year that are like, oh yeah, doesn't have his best. I forget exactly which start it was. Was
I
it?
thought the
Was
one
it?
in Boston
Was the
was not one of his best, and he ends up going like 8 innings of 1 run ball.
Yeah, like I'm forgetting which one. One of the first handful of series of the year, I remember it was like I thought, he didn't have like a great start or anything, and then I looked up. I looked like the next day at the box score, and it was I think like 6 innings, no runs, or maybe 1 run, no walks, 8 Ks or something like that. That it's like he didn't even have like his good stuff going, and he's punching tickets like. That guy, especially with the nights he has the good stuff, he's insane.
Yeah, and let's talk rotation. Obviously Cole and Rodon are coming back, but like this rotation has been baseball's best. Max Fried has pitched unreal. Cam Schlittler's pitched, some of the best in baseball this year, and then Will Warren and Ryan Weathers, who, hey, if you would have pitched to a 350 ERA to both of them, I think Yankee fans would sign up and take it. But they're both,
Yeah.
I think they're both under 3. I don't know if Warren's is over 3 now after a start on Wednesday.
I think
but
he is now, just because one bad start will still do that at this point in the year. But yeah, yeah. I mean, with those two guys, coming into the year would have signed up for a low 4s ERA even. Like they did not have to do that much to be impressive, and they've so far exceeded those expectations that like even when you get some hiccups here and there, or like Warren, finally had a bad start. He was so good leading up to that they've done everything you could have asked for, especially as fill-ins, placeholders, whatever word you've got for it, for Cole and Rodon while they're out.
Yeah, and let's move on now to the New York Knicks. Obviously the story in New York right now. You're a big Knicks fan. Where are you at right now with the Knicks?
Hard not to feel pretty good. We got knocking on some wood here. The good news on Anunoby that they certainly avoided a worst case scenario. Up anytime you go up 2-0 in any series as they're playing the Sixers, you feel pretty good. I'll tell you what, I forgot what a close game felt like for a sec there after they won was it 4 blowouts in a row. I liked those. It's so last night was stressful, but hey, I feel really good about them getting through this series. So you got to make sure you do it, but get OG healthy for whenever the next round comes, and he might even be just playing Friday. So I'll shut up about his health, I guess. So they'll figure it out. But it's hard not to feel amazing.
Yeah, and what do you do like Knicks when there's a Knicks playoff game and a Yankee game? Like, do you watch both games? You get this one game, get the TV, one game, get the iPad.
I try to watch both. The Knicks will get the TV playoff game. Rarer thing, and baseball. I have an easier time with different memberships and MLB TV and Gotham, whatever. Easier to just pull that up on laptop down there. Last night, full disclosure, so this is Wednesday night. So during Game 2 of Knicks Sixers, they started basically at the same time. So I was sort of just focused on the Knicks to start. I was like going to pull up my laptop and get it on just on like the coffee table in front of me, and they were already down 3-0 pretty early or whatever exactly it was. The only game this year that I didn't watch a second of that live. So far that's been my one.
Listen, I try to watch every Knicks regular season game. I'm weird in that I watch every Knicks regular season game, but when it comes to the playoffs, it's like I love the New York Yankees more than I love any other team in the world. I think the only team that gets it over the Yankees is probably the Giants. because the Giants play 16 times to 162. That I love watching the New York Yankees more than I love watching the Knicks. That I even went to the game on Monday over the Knicks game. But the Wednesday game, once Evan Carter hit the homer, I'm like, the Yankees finally decided to lose a game, and I'm thankful that it happened in the third inning, so I can go and turn on the Knicks game now. So
Yeah, you know what? Thank you guys for losing a game and like me not having to worry about it being interesting.
yeah,
Which hey, maybe they could have made it interesting. I don't know the Yanks the way they have played. But Nathan Eovaldi, whatever. That was good timing from to play that one. I'll put it that way. My usual routine, generally speaking, because especially for work and all that, like I need to know what happened in the Yankee game, need to have it on. But usually during during the time that it is overlapping with football, we have like a whole wall of TVs at the office, so I am able to like, all right, I got the Giant game on one, Yanks on this, and that time of year when it's like the first couple Nick games, sometimes I'll miss those, but then I get to tune back in when they're about 10 games deep, and usually find some way to watch both.
yeah, and I love talking ball. I love hearing you talk ball. Is there any chance we can hear you talk ball on a John Boy Media podcast? I think John Boy needs a basketball podcast.
I mean, hey, never say never. No plans on anything right now. Jake and I on Wake and Jake will always touch a little bit of NBA, especially during the playoffs. Pretty much every episode, especially as the Knicks are going, because it's my favorite team, his favorite team. So we usually get a good 5 minutes at the end of every episode that we'll focus on them. But can't say there's current plans for a basketball show.
No, I love Wake and Jake, but it's just that I listen to so many baseball podcasts, including all your guys' podcasts, baseball is that I listen to. That when it comes to Wake and Jake on baseball, like sometimes they're just tired of listening to baseball. That I think your best segments are when you guys talk other sports because you guys are mainly a baseball podcast. And when you guys talk basketball, like when Jake was talking UConn Huskies, when they were going to the finals, I really enjoyed that because as someone that doesn't, listen to a lot of UConn Huskies ball, that was
Yeah.
I really enjoy listening to that. So.
It helps be able to scratch a different itch and all of that. Definitely, like touching on the other sports when we can on that show.
Yeah, and do you have a series prediction for the end of this Knicks series?
Ooh, even if OG was 100% like locked in, he's gonna be healthy. Josh Hart locked in 100%, he's gonna be healthy. I'd say the Sixers probably get one at home. Coming into the series, I thought there was a chance that this thing was going to go 7. I feel good about the Knicks winning. I like that game would be at home, but I do at this point have a hard time not thinking we're heading towards Knicks in 5. Famous last words, but that would currently be how I think this shakes out.
I mean, I think it depends if Joel Embiid plays. I think the Sixers are better without Embiid. I think they play more.
Based on the last 2 games I watched, that is true.
Yeah. Do we like Mike Brown? A lot of Knicks fans are criticizing Mike Brown, because I don't think the first 3 games of that Atlanta series were coached really well.
My answer to that question was definitely different 10 days or so ago, but I'm in an okay place with Mike Brown right now.
Yeah, and last question of the night: are you confident in them facing a West? I think they'll get through the Pistons easily. Are you confident in them in facing the Spurs or Thunder?
Spurs, I feel good about that matchup. I mean, they won a lot of the games they played against the Spurs the last couple of years. Hard not to feel pretty good about that matchup, especially them being so young. The Thunder would be a more daunting task going into it, but once you're there, you've won 3 series already. It's not quite anything can happen on the same level as baseball. Where anything can happen in one series, but there's an element of anything can happen. You win one game you're not supposed to, and all of a sudden you messed up their whole plan. So I'm more nervous about either of those two in a finals matchup than any of the possible Eastern Conference matchups the rest of the way. But that doesn't mean they can't lose those either. I just want to get there and I'll feel every feeling.
Gibbs, thank you so much for coming on. obviously you came on a couple years ago, but just, I've gotten to meet you in person, a couple times. I remember I went to the warehouse, shout out, I went on a field trip to the warehouse, which by the way, coolest field
Okay.
trip that I think anyone's ever gone on. And I came over to
Pretty
you,
good.
I was unsure, if you're going to recognize me, and immediately you go, "Oh, between the bases, how's it going?" So, that goes I don't think you remember that moment, but that's a big moment in my life as someone that loves John Boy Media, loves listening to you talk ball. So thank you again for coming on. Enjoy talking ball with you.
Thank you, man. Have a good one, and let's go.
Everyone remember to like and subscribe. We'll see you later.